The show Percy Jackson and the Olympians isn't the first time that Percy's story is being told. Many of us can remember the two movies with Logan Lerman, who played the beloved Percy, Alexandra Daddario in the role of Annabeth, and Brandon T. Jackson as Grover. The movies were supposed to adapt Percy Jackson and the Olympians book series written by Rick Riordan, but the result wasn't satisfying, as the creators made a somewhat loose interpretation of the books. This time around, the producers, under the watchful eye of Disney Plus, promised the fans of the books that they'll do a better job at delivering the story than their counterparts. But it's not surprising that many people have trust issues after how the movies turned out, and they're quite apprehensive about what's coming on Disney Plus. It's not a secret that the author Rick Riordan himself is, to put it lightly, not a fan of the movies. One time, when one of the fans pointed out that there's a censored scene in the movie on Disney Plus, Riordan answered, "I don't know, but clearly it's a mistake. They should censor the entire thing, just 2 hours of blank screen." This tweet says a lot about Rick's feelings, and they match the feelings of the Percy Jackson generation. Rick later complained that the story, which was completely butchered by the writers of the movies, was his live work, and it wasn't easy to accept it. According to him, Rick even pleaded not to greenlight that monstrous thing, but his wish was left unheard, and the mess was created. The fans were begging for a series that would do the book saga justice for years, and Disney Plus decided to grant them their wish. To the delight of netizens, Rick joined the production to make sure that the fiasco surrounding the movies won't happen again. Rick opened up and said that he isn't a fan of TV and the industry in general, but he felt that he owes at least one good adaptation to Percy's fans. The showrunners have a challenge ahead of them, and let's hope that they will end up being better than the two disaster movies. The bar is really low, and these are the mistakes that the show has to correct. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, titled after the book that the movie was supposed to adapt, introduced a golden trio of the Percy Jackson series: Percy, Annabeth, and Grover. But the names are the only thing these characters have in common with their book counterparts. When the book series starts, Percy is only 12 years old, which is more terrifying to imagine a child doing the dangerous things that Percy has to somehow survive. Characters in the movies were 15 and 16, which was difficult to digest for the fans. The age change influenced the character development on every level, and the plot had to be adjusted. The Great Prophecy, which is the biggest part of the series and might or might not be about Percy, was moved to age 18 to accommodate the actor's age. The age change isn't something to worry about in the show, as the cast is much younger than their counterparts, and the Great Prophecy might happen as intended when a child of the gods of the Big Three survives till their 16th birthday. What's more, the creators of The Lightning Thief ignored the fact that Annabeth, as the daughter of Athena, is supposed to have blonde hair just like her mother. In the first movie, Daddario's Annabeth is brown, but in Sea of Monsters, her hair is dyed blonde, and everyone acts as if nothing's changed, which was an attempt to gaslight the fans that her hair was always blonde. But the show is going down the same path of different appearances so far, which created a huge discourse on social media. Percy, who's supposed to have jet black hair and sea green eyes, is played by Walker, whose hair is blonde. That decision raised a few eyebrows, and from what we could have seen from the set and the trailer on the show, the creators decided to leave Walker his natural colour. But the casting of Leah was the one which was called into question by the book lovers, because her appearance doesn't match Annabeth's appearance described in the book. There was quite an uproar on Twitter when the casting was announced, and not all responses were positive. But Rick made a comment on the backlash. "If you have a problem with this casting, take it up with me. You have no one else to blame." And that helped some, but it's impossible to satisfy every person on Earth, and fans of the books have to deal with it. Another problem that the show vowed to fix was the mischaracterization of the characters. Percy and the other demigods are known for their ADHD and dyslexia, which helps them read Greek and fight the monsters. Percy is often expelled from schools because of the troubles he creates. While short-tempered, Percy is very loyal and kind-hearted, but the movies made him flat without any characteristics he possesses in the books. Plus, the sass that makes Percy one of the most beloved characters of the 21st century was completely toned down that it was practically non-existent. The only example where Logan's Percy was truly showing his real self was this scene in The Lightning Thief.
This is a pen. This is a pen.
The movie Grover is described as a shy satyr with many fears. However, they changed him into a more extroverted version, which wasn't received well by the fans. Alexandra Daddario's Annabeth was portrayed as a very judgmental person, and the scene where she was afraid of spiders, as every Athena's child is, and was described as more human, was left out. Annabeth also has many cool tools which help her survive. The Yankees cap, which makes her invisible, and her bronze knife was absent as well. The reason behind all mischaracterization characterization might have been to portray the main trio as more mature. According to Rick Riordan, Walker's sass during the audition was perfect, and that's one of the reasons he landed the role. The list of things wrong with the movies doesn't end here. Many of us remember the scene where Percy fights Uma Thurman's Medusa. Her snakes, which she has instead of hair, could turn people into stone, and being an iconic monster, she built a business with garden statues. Percy, while fighting her, had to have his eyes closed to protect himself from Medusa's powers. But with your eyes closed, you can't fight, so Lerman's Percy uses his iPhone's reflection. The scene is to this day a masterpiece if you don't think about the movie as a Percy Jackson adaptation. The writers kind of forgot that the demigods can't carry any electronic devices, as these devices attract bloodthirsty monsters, and if they want to survive long enough to see adulthood, the demigods have to live without iPhones and other electronics. So, with Rick Riordan on board, this careless mistake shouldn't happen in the show. The quest for Zeus's Master Bolt was also heavily changed. In the movie, the main trio is looking for Persephone's pearls across America, so they could go to the underworld to visit Percy's uncle Hades, who has Percy's mother hostage. In the books, the main problem of the trio is attacking monsters, and the pearls are given to Percy by Poseidon's messengers. The disappointment of the fans was growing as the creators decided not to involve much plot about Ares in the movies. The big confrontation between Percy and a god was mercilessly cut from the plot. Instead, the title of the bad guy in the first movie went to Hades, who became a character similar to Hades from the Disney movie Hercules, which was a gross mischaracterization of the character Riordan wrote. Maybe the only good thing that came out of The Lightning Thief was the casino scene, where the trio is enjoying their stay in Las Vegas during their quest to the underworld, and Lady Gaga's Poker Face is playing in the background. Many would agree that the scene changed a generation. Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters was confusing to watch, as the movie covered not only the book with the same name, but the last book of the series as well. The book series kept building the pressure until the last moments, where the evil was defeated, but the creators of the movies threw that away. The potential for 5 movies was wasted right in the second movie, where Percy managed to destroy the main villain of the series in less than 10 minutes. The whole Kronos thing, who was supposed to be the villain of the saga, was quite anticlimactic. What's more, the whole moral dilemma because of Luke's character is completely skipped. This time around, the unnecessary rush might be avoided, as the show has a better chance to be renewed. Riordan said in the interview that the fans shouldn't worry if they haven't seen some gods or demigods which appeared in the book announced yet, because the casting will happen later. He also said, "More later, demigods, but I am pleased to tell you we are in a very good place as we look ahead to a not yet greenlit but fully anticipated season 2. However, some changes in the show are inevitable, even with the author being involved in the creation of the series. Rick enjoys going back to his roots and looking closer at his stories, but as time went, he found things that had to be readdressed or explained. He already hinted at a few of them, and he's very happy with the changes. These changes are supposed to give more value to the show as they involve the backstories of some characters, Easter eggs, and more of Percy's family history. The show already looks more promising than the movies, but in order to fully enjoy the ride, we have to wait several months, but the result might justify the long wait. So, are you looking forward to Percy Jackson and the Olympians so far? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.